impurities like silicon, sulfur, and phosphorus, it spreads them out throughout the steel. This ensures a uniform consistency without any weak points. Second, it gives the steel a grain. After folding the sword, it is now reinforced in the direction that it will be hit in combat. And as a bonus, the steel is exposed to the air, so there is a small amount of oxidation, creating a darker colored steel, which when folded makes beautiful patterns.
Oh, that's cool!
There are some swords which have more than 1 billion layers.
There's no...
Now, this doesn't mean the sword has been folded 1 billion times.
That's my first question. It's like, there's no fucking way, dude. They're doing 1 billion times. Are you joking or exaggerating? Okay, alright, that's...
Since every fold doubles the number of layers,
I see.
so you only need about 30 folds to get 1 billion layers.
Still 30 folds, bro.
But usually, a sword is folded 10 to 13 times, resulting in a few thousand layers of steel. Now, a blade isn't made from a single block of steel. The carbon content affects how hard the steel is, so different carbon percentages are used in different parts of the blade. Because carbon atoms are much smaller than iron atoms, they can fit inside the crystal lattice of iron. These trapped carbon atoms then apply an outward force to the lattice, putting the steel under stress. The higher the carbon percentage, the harder and more rigid the steel. But this hardness comes at a cost. The steel becomes brittle, making it more likely to chip and shatter rather than bend. So what swordsmiths do is they use steel with different carbon contents for different parts of the blade. The edge is always high carbon steel to make it hard and rigid so it can maintain a sharp edge for a long time. But the spine is usually made of lower carbon steel, which allows the sword to flex without breaking.
That's cool.
This is done by welding together pieces of steel with different carbon contents.
So we have about a 15-minute break because it takes a while for the iron to heat up and then melt together, and then we're back in there. It's very hot. It's very, very hot in there. It's kind of unbelievable that he can do this for 4 hours at a time.
After the sword is hammered into shape, which is a straight blade, it is covered in a layer of clay, a thick layer for the spine and a thin layer for the blade itself. It's then heated in the furnace and then rapidly cooled in water.
It's almost as hard as being a streamer. Well, let's not get crazy. It's not that hard. Obviously, it's not anywhere close to that, but like he's clearly he's getting somewhere. He's getting to the point.
A process known as quenching. And because the layers of clay have different thicknesses, the rate of cooling is faster for the edge than the spine. When the steel is heated, carbon enters the iron lattice, and since the spine of the sword is covered in thick clay, it will cool slowly, giving time for the carbon atoms to leave the iron matrix. This will lead to a very low carbon steel called ferrite, but the carbon atoms which have left the matrix will be caught by other iron atoms and create a type of steel known as cementite. The combination of ferrite and cementite is known as pearlite, and it's a mostly soft and ductile form of steel, though parts of it are hard due to the cementite. So pearlite forms the spine of the sword. In contrast, the very thin layer of clay on the blade means that it cools very rapidly, so more of the carbon is trapped in the lattice. This forces the lattice structure to change from cubic to tetragonal, making a form of steel known as martensite. Since the trapped carbon puts stress on the lattice, martensite is incredibly hard, exactly what you'd want for the edge of a sword.
Sheesh!
The tetragonal lattice structure of martensite also takes up more space, so the edge of the blade expands relative to the spine, curving the sword backwards. The iconic curve of a samurai sword comes from the formation of martensite. You can actually see the boundary between different types of steel in a finished sword by the difference in color. This is known as hamon, which literally means edge pattern.
Okay.
At the Victoria Albert Museum in London, there is a Japanese sword that has a very detailed little dragon in the hamon, and I've looked at it many times, and I don't know how he did that.
Show me.
About 1/3 of all blades
I want to see
shatter.
the dragon in the hamon. We can just talk about it?
during the quenching process.
You quench it once, and you thank the stars that you made it.
The sword is then placed back in the forge to evaporate any remaining water. This also provides a little bit of energy to loosen some of the crystal structures, making the sword less brittle.
And that's about the extent of the tempering process on a Japanese sword. Which that might be enough to relax things a bit, but they kept the edge much harder than you would have in the West.
After the sword is forged, it is sent to a polisher.
Western swords,
The
dude.
polishing and sharpening of a sword is also done by hand, with whetstones of different coarsenesses. It can take a month to sharpen and polish a single sword.
This is so
One
much
of the
effort.
things that I love is that this table is sloping down and the entire floor.
I mean, there's a whole team doing this for months and months and months of hard work just so some weeb in America can buy this and show it to a date who's not interested. This is all this effort and it flies across the globe. So some dude who got fucking meta stock can put it in his fucking one-bedroom SM apartment and show it to a fucking Tinder date. That's crazy.
Over there, sloping down. So when you like add the water, all of the residue and all the water, flows downhill. So it's not perfectly flat.
Sometimes the swords are also engraved with beautiful patterns, though this is quite rare.
Big A coping because he only buys great swords. Yeah, dude. I only buy Western swords, okay? I got French and English swords, big, broad ones. I don't need a fucking katana.